This is a 2002 Lexus RX300. It's a front-wheel drive. This is one of those cars that the owners want us to keep running forever, and we're happy to oblige. In this video, I'm going to cover the installation and the features of this Android-based head unit, and it supports both Android Auto and Apple Carplay wirelessly. So I'm going to talk about the features, and I'm going to talk about the installation. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, just to give you an overview, and I will include a link to this unit in the video description if you're interested. So back here I have some of the carnage from this installation. This is a old unit that I have in the shop. This is the original head unit for this vehicle. It's had a little damage that you notice here, and that's why I've just kept it around for spares, and I'm going to use it for demonstration purposes in this video. So what you note in this head unit is that it integrates the stereo functions with a display where all of your settings for the AC and the audio or radio are displayed on this display, and these two are integrated together. So it's kind of complicated thing to try and replace. This right here is the original unit from this car, and as you can see here, this unit has been completely gutted. For one thing, we've removed the air vent louvers, but more importantly, we've removed the entire electronics assembly that is the control for the head unit and for the AC. So the entire electronics assembly has been installed into the back of the new head unit, and it retains the functions of the control of the AC. In here you have the AC auto on and off button, you have the off button for the AC, and the temperature control still works in auto mode. So in order to do this installation, you have to take your original unit and you're going to completely disassemble it from the back. You're going to remove this radio receiver, and you're going to remove this screen module. And the reason you remove the radio receiver cassette player is so that you can access this printed circuit board and remove it from your original unit and install it on the back of the new unit. And you also want to access this secondary board, and that's the reason you have to remove the screen, because you cannot access this secondary board and move it to the new unit unless you remove the screen. So that's how you end up just completely gutting your original unit, and it ends up like this, just a shell. The one thing that I find just a little bit annoying about this is that you no longer see your temperature setting or a confirmation of your mode settings or defrost settings or anything like that you used to see on the original screen of the original head unit. Well, you no longer see those anywhere. One more thing about the new unit is in the back it had the option of installing barbs, like these barbs with clips that clip it into the dashboard, but I found that with those barbs installed, it was very difficult to make the unit fit into the dashboard. So my solution was to just remove these barbs from the new aftermarket unit and just rely on these 4 bolts that are down here to secure the unit into the dash. The other thing that is far more annoying is that the adapters that are provided to connect to the body harness of the car are wired completely incorrectly. They're wired like this with these wire codes, which are standard wire codes for most Toyota vehicles. And so you have two sets of speaker wires going into this small connector, and the power, ground, constant power, switched power, and ground, and the other speaker wires going into this bigger connector. Okay, this is completely incorrect for this vehicle. On this vehicle, you need to move the power, ground, and switched power over from the big connector over the small connector. And needless to say, if you try to plug it in this way, the way it is, the head unit will not even power up. And also the speaker wires have to be moved into different positions. Now back here, I have the correct wire codes for this Lexus RX300. These are the wire colors on the body harness side, and these, if you follow them, will allow you to wire up this new head unit correctly. That means moving a lot of these wires around so that they match up with the corresponding wires on the side of the car. And I'll try to include a download link for these wire codes in the video description. One nice thing about this unit is it has provision for auxiliary input with a Sony jack, and it also has provision for an external USB connection. And so I've purchased and installed this combined USB and auxiliary input adapter that fits very nicely in the position of the cigarette lighter, and the wires or cables from this go right back to plug in to the head unit. Let's take a look at the controls here. On the side of the unit, you have a power button, you have a home button. This home button gets you to the home position, and you can just swipe to move from the home position to access all your different functions that you want. And also up here you have a back to home that takes you back here, and then you have the volume down and up. These are the switches for the volume, or the controls for the volume. I personally prefer if you have a little volume knob, and a lot of units have that, but this is okay enough. It's not too difficult to use. Of course, this unit has an input jack for a microphone for the phone, hands-free phone, and I've tested this in use. It works very nicely. This unit is able to allow you to answer calls and make calls, provided that your phone is paired, and it's very easy to pair. So previously in this car, the audio amplifier that is behind the back seat quit working, so we wired up a bypass for it. And it has all of the standard wire colors: white, white with stripe, gray, gray with stripe, green, green with stripe, purple, purple with stripe for the 4 speaker locations. And those wired right up to this new unit with its color-coded outputs. And this gives very nice audio, not bad at all. So the maps look really nice on this large screen, and you can look at the maps while you listen to the radio, which is great. So in terms of rating this unit overall, I wish I could give it a 10. It has some great features, and it really integrates very nicely here, but there is one shortcoming with the integration of the AC controls that I did mention, where you cannot visually see what your AC settings are. So that's one drawback. Another drawback is the relative difficulty of the installation. And it's very difficult to remove all of these switches from the face and get them back in. And it's very delicate. And the third thing is that I mentioned the wiring is incorrect. So I can't give this a 10 out of 10 rating. I would give it a 7 or 8, considering these shortcomings. And it's a lot better than some other units that I've seen for this same vehicle that I would not rate as high. But it has a little ways to go in order to be perfect. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section.